The financial fallout caused by this pandemic is certainly impacting a lot of people's retirement savings, but there actually could be a silver lining for some. If you have considered converting your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, this may be the time to do it. So we're going to ask Jill Schlesinger to join us. She is a CBS News business analyst. And Jill, this kind of runs contrary to a lot of the advice that you have given us and others have given us during turbulent times, which is, kind of like if you've got a long way to go, don't touch your retirement savings. In fact, don't look at it because it'll just depress you, write it out. But this may be a good time to do some tweaking for some.
Absolutely. There's a few different reasons why. So remember, what's the difference between a standard or a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA? The traditional means that you've gotten a tax deduction up front. So that's good news. But when you pull the money out later, you have to pay tax on it. With a Roth, you pay the tax today, but later when you're retired, there's no tax due, which is fantastic. So why is now the time to consider this? The reason is this. The money in your regular traditional IRA, it may actually have gone down in value, which means as you convert it, the amount of tax due is lower. And so that is a huge advantage to a lot of Americans. There's a secondary aspect to this, and that is that with a lot of people seeing a reduction of hours, or maybe they've seen a bit of a wage decrease because of the virus, they may be in a lower tax bracket. Another good reason to start converting.
Jill, what about age? Which investors might benefit from conversion more than others?
We used to say, old people like me who were in the business a long time ago, that it was better for younger people to convert rather than older ones. But I think that is a real change that is occurring now, that everybody should consider converting. And here's why. Because knowing what your tax liability is in your retirement years can be an enormous advantage. In other words, today your tax rate may be, let's call it 25%. Next year, you don't know what it's going to be. 30 years from now, you don't know what it's going to be. And frankly, with all of the fiscal stimulus, all the government spending that's going on, there's so many experts who believe tax rates are going to be higher in the coming years. So maybe now is a good time to know, this is what my tax rate is. I have it set. It will not change during retirement. And there can be a lot of solace to people as you retire, understanding exactly what your tax liability will be in the future.
So if you decide to convert, what strategy should you take? And I don't know. I mean, I look at the stock market and I can't predict anything. I mean, it really seems to be all over the place. It seems like a scary time to be investing.
Well, first of all, it is a total scary time to invest. You'd have to really be, sort of ignoring the news. It's terrifying. We saw stocks go down by one third in just a month. I mean, that is a swift and sudden drop that we've never experienced probably since the Great Depression and the crash back then. So we had a 1/3 drop. But since March 23rd, when stocks bottomed out, we've seen a rise of about 25%, which is pretty amazing. So for all the people who were like freaking out and saying, I'm going to sell everything, I hope you didn't, because you may have missed the recovery that we've seen thus far. Now, when it comes to the conversion idea, you want to take the portion of your retirement account and convert the amount where you know you can pay the tax that's due, right? So if you had, let's say, $3,000 in a traditional IRA, maybe you don't have that much extra money. Maybe you can only convert $1,000 of it because you only have enough money to pay the tax on $1,000. Remember, whatever you convert this year, you will have to pay taxes on. It will be added to your ordinary income when you go to file your taxes in next year's tax filing time horizon.
So Jill, just to put a finer point on it, as you were both talking about the economic uncertainty, are there other ways that people can protect their retirement savings?
I think what's really important is not to mess with your game plan. You see, my dogs are barking right now. I don't know if you can hear that, because they don't want you to mess with your game plan either. Don't mess with your game plan as much as you possibly can refrain from doing that. And I'll tell you why. oftentimes in a moment like right now, it's so scary. We have so much anxiety and we don't know what to do next. So what we think we're doing is we're acting or taking control, but this is not a situation you can control. If you're really worried about what's happening in the investment world, you probably came into this period maybe with a little bit too much risk. Maybe those are the only people that would really start to say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to move some of my money into safer options, but I'm not going to move everything back into the stock market after things recover. Again, what we're trying to do is stick to a game plan. And I should also note that if you need money in any of these accounts within the next 12 months, maybe by mistake, maybe you were too aggressive and said, oh, I have my whole home down payment fund in the stock market, you've learned a terrible lesson, and that is you do not put money at risk that you know you're going to need within the next 12 months.
Great advice, Jill Schlesinger. And what's your dog's name, Jill, so we could say a proper goodbye?
Yes, Trixie and Charlie. You can see them up where? Up there, in the picture.
Love it. Love it. Thank you both. Thank you, all three of you. We appreciate it.